A very warm welcome in the class of Convergence of Improper Integrals. This topic comes under the Integral Calculus module of Mathematics 1. Myself Rupak Bhattacharjee, Assistant Professor, Department of Mathematics, GIS College of Engineering. In this particular topic, we are actually going to discuss the convergence criterion and the verification of the given improper integration. But for that, there are some prerequisites, and the prerequisites are the concept of improper integral, which is already delivered just the previous class in this particular section, and also we have understood that what is the process or the technique through which we can approach the improper integral. First of all, the identification of improper integral is important, and then depending on the type of that improper integral, we have to think that how we can approach what is the absolute process for approaching those particular improper integrations. Also, we need the analytical identification of the types of those improper integrals, and using those we actually select the tool for which we are going to apply the solution methodology. And finally, we need also the idea of convergence. Yes, it is true that we are going to discuss the convergence of improper integral here, but before that we need also the basic idea that what is the meaning of convergence. So let us start our class with these figures that we see. There are three diagrams presented over here. First one is this one. You can see that there are some rays, curves basically, but after a certain time they are combined in a particular single direction. You can just recall your idea of physics classes where you have gone through the chapter of light and where you have discussed the concept of lens. Then also you got this particular idea that after a certain time and direction it is going to a single point. So these types of ideas are nothing but the idea of convergence. Means after a certain time or after some calculation or after a certain period, you are getting this thing converging to a finite point. And in the reverse manner, we are also getting another diagram. It is also very much known to you, this diagram, that there are some parallel rays, and after incidence on a concave lens, the rays are going just by the distance of them are growing bigger and bigger when they are passing through a scale. That means when the scale, that time scale or whatever the distance you are measuring, you are getting that this particular thing is increasing. This means they are diverging. Okay, so this is the concept, known concept of convergence and divergence, or not convergence, what you can say. Obviously in mathematics, in other parts we do have some other ideas called oscillatory, but we are not considering that idea over here. Now how we are going to relate this thing to our problems of improper integral. So let us start this particular idea by taking one problem, integration -1 to 1 dx by x cube. Okay, so first of all, at -1 and at 1 by x cube has no problem. But if we identify that here our function is fx is equal to 1 by x cube, and if we take in this closed interval -1 to 1 the point 0, so when x tends to 0, 1 by x cube is tending to infinity. So this scenario actually makes this problem an improper integration. Now when we are trying to find out the solution, whether if it is possible or not, then we can write this one as -1 to 0, because 0 is the problem of infinite discontinuity, dx by x cube, plus 0 to 1 dx by x cube. Okay. Now according to the process what we have learned in the last class, in these types of problems when 0 is the problem, what we can do, we can write limit epsilon 1 tends to 0 integration minus 1 to 0 dx by x cube, and this 0 is now just we are making it 0 minus epsilon 1. What is the physical interpretation? This is 0, this is minus 1, this is 1. So we are approaching from minus 1 to a point up to this which is 0 minus epsilon and epsilon 1, and we are starting from 0 plus epsilon 2 to 1. That means this is our area of coverage and this is our area of coverage, and making epsilon 1 and epsilon 2 very small tending to 0, we will try to cover up the whole region and we will check whether this system is going to give us any consistent result or not. Okay, then we can write it plus limit epsilon 2 tends to 0 integration 0 plus epsilon 2, that means this point, to 1, then dx by x cube. So this is the structure or formulation of this problem to proceed further. Now what we see that limit epsilon 1 tends to 0, one thing I want to mention, 0 plus 0 minus, for this first problem I am making it simple or lucid, but we should use this structure according to the rule what we have discussed in the last class. But initially we are just trying to give you the idea on different expressions on epsilon 1 and epsilon 2. So limit epsilon 1 tends to 0, after integrating what we can write, x to the power minus 3. So it will be, after integrating what will be the case, x to the power minus 3 plus 1 by minus 3 plus 1. So minus 3 plus 1, that is minus 2. So we get it here x to the power minus 2, and there will be half minus 1 by 2 into x to the power minus 2, means in the denominator it will be x square minus 1 by 2 x square. Okay, just by simple integration, and we can write it as minus 1 to 0 minus epsilon 1. Okay, now plus limit epsilon 2 tends to 0, because we are not checking any concept of integration basically over here, because we know that these are very simple integrations and everyone can do this. We are just testing the concept of improper integration and how to tackle them. Okay, so in the next line what we can write, putting this lower limit and upper limit in this expression, limit epsilon 1 tends to 0, we can write it as minus 1 by 2. In place of x, epsilon 1 will be substituted, x square is the minus epsilon 1 whole square will be epsilon 1 square, plus minus minus plus, and if we substitute this one, what we get, 1 by 2. Okay, then plus limit epsilon 2 tends to 0. If we put 1 here, then it will be minus half, then minus epsilon 2, this minus will be plus, then 1 by 2 into epsilon 2 whole square. Okay, so in the next line what we can write, that limit epsilon 1 tends to 0 minus 1 by 2 epsilon 1 whole square, we can write it here as limit epsilon 1 tends to 0 1 by 2 epsilon 1 whole square, where it will go, it will not exist finitely, because if epsilon 1 tends to 0, this one epsilon 1 whole square will be tending to 0, and then it will be minus 1 by 2 epsilon 1 square will be going to infinity. Clear? So it will not exist. And similarly, limit epsilon 2 tends to 0, 1 by 2 epsilon 2 whole square, this will also not exist. So you will get this whole calculation where two parts does not exist. So what is the conclusion over here? That this given improper integration does not exist. So the whole improper integration does not exist. But why I am drawing this line over here? Because now we are going to test something different. That is, suppose epsilon 1 is equal to epsilon 2. In that case, what will happen? So please check, if epsilon 1 is equal to epsilon 2, then limit epsilon 1 tends to 0, what we will get? Limit epsilon 1 tends to 0 minus 1 by 2 epsilon 1 whole square plus half minus half, because it is now epsilon 1, plus 1 by 2 into epsilon 1 whole square, because it is epsilon 1. So what we get? This one and this one is cancelled out, this one and this one is cancelled out, the result is 0. Now we are getting some finite value. The question is that if epsilon 1 is equal to epsilon 2, then we are getting the finite value, but can we conclude that improper integral converges? Answer is no, because when we take epsilon 1 is equal to epsilon 2, it is a special case, and this special case is called Cauchy's principal value. Clear? In general, epsilon 1 is equal to epsilon 2 can't be taken, because this is not the way to find out the convergence criterion of improper integration. But when this is not existing due to epsilon 1 and epsilon 2 is different, we can take epsilon 1 and epsilon 2 and we can check whether the finite value is coming or not. So in this case, what is our conclusion is that integration minus 1 to 1 dx by x cube exists in Cauchy principal value sense, but not in general sense. So it exists in Cauchy's principal value sense, but not in general sense. So there are problems which can be appeared, that we have to check what is the conclusion regarding the Cauchy's principal value sense and what is the conclusion regarding the general sense. In that case, we have to test this thing. After getting the conclusion of general sense, you can test it by putting epsilon 1 is equal to epsilon 2 and what is the consequence for Cauchy's principal value. Now moving forward, we are going to get some problem of this form. Suppose we are trying to test in general, that is a to infinity dx by x to the power n, where a is greater than 0. Before approaching this problem, I just want to share that when the appropriate limit exists finitely, then we can get the conclusion that our improper integral is convergent. And if it does not exist finitely, then it is not convergent. It is as simple as that. Okay. So now if we want to solve this problem, we can start by here and we can write it as limit capital X tends to infinity a to capital X dx by x to the power n. So in the next line we can write limit x tends to infinity, it is x to the power minus n plus 1 by minus n plus 1 on a to capital X. So just by solving the problem according to the simple integration technique, we can write it as capital X substituted in place of small x minus n plus 1 by minus n plus 1 minus a to the power minus n plus 1 by minus n plus 1. Okay. Next line we can write it as limit x tends to infinity a to the power minus n plus 1 by n minus 1. That means we are actually converging, taking this minus sign over here. So in the next line also we can write it as limit x tends to infinity. This minus is absorbed by this, so it is a to the power minus n plus 1 by n minus 1, and this minus similarly it is also n minus 1 but x to the power minus n plus 1. Now look at the beauty. You can conclude it as a to the power minus n plus 1 by n minus 1 if n greater than 1. Why? If n is greater than 1, there is no impact of limiting value, but there will be the impact. If n is greater than 1, then minus n plus 1, this will be a negative quantity. So x to the power, suppose n is 2, so it is minus 2 plus 1, that is x to the power minus 1, that is 1 by capital X. Now x tends to infinity when 1 by capital X will be 0. Similarly, if it is x square, x cube, x to the power 4, whatever, it will always be giving you 0 if n is greater than 1. But if n is less than 1, because there is no question of checking n is equal to 1, if n is equal to 1, it is completely undefined. In this pattern, we have to check n is equal to 1 in the next case, but in this structure, we can't put n equal to 1 because of these two expressions. For n less than 1, it is coming as infinity. So we are getting that this improper integral exists depending on the value of n, and obviously we have to check what is the case for n equal to 1. So if we take n equal to 1, it is a to infinity dx by x. Okay, so we know that it will be limit capital X tends to infinity integration a to capital X dx by x. So we can write it as limit capital X tends to infinity log of x a capital X and limit x tends to infinity log of capital X minus log of a. Okay, now think, if you want to find out this part only, there is no impact, so this is not defined, this is infinity. So ultimately what we are getting, it is not giving us any finite value. So the final conclusion is that the given improper integral when it is convergent, it is convergent for n greater than 1 for this case, and otherwise not convergent. Clear? So this is the approach of getting the convergence criterion for improper integrations. Okay, now moving forward, we will take another problem, that is integration a to b dx by x minus a whole to the power n, where n greater than 0. Actually, after the completion of this class, you will feel that all those types what we have discussed in the class of improper integration, basic class of the improper integration, you will see that all the types will be checked over here for their convergence criterion. So first one is already done, that when the upper limit is infinity, and similarly the lower limit also can be minus infinity. But here what we do, limits are finite, but for x equal to a, this will become undefined. So actually for point x equal to a, the point of discontinuity is here. So this is an improper integration. So how to proceed for this? Again we have to proceed for the same type, that limit epsilon tends to 0, or you can write it as 0 plus also. Integration a plus epsilon to b dx by x minus a whole to the power n. Okay. So in the next line you can write limit epsilon tends to 0 plus. In the simple integration we have to perform x minus a whole to the power minus n plus 1, similar type, by minus n plus 1, but the limits are here a plus epsilon to b. So in the next line what we can do, that limit epsilon tends to 0 plus, we can write this is taken outside n minus 1, that means 1 minus sign is absorbed, so 1 by n minus 1, then we can do that epsilon to the power minus n plus 1 minus b minus a, when we are substituting b, it is b minus a minus n plus 1. So look at this, though b is the upper limit, it will be b minus a whole to the power minus n plus 1 minus a plus epsilon, a cancelled out, epsilon to the power minus n plus 1. But as we are taking this minus n plus 1 along with a minus sign 1 minus n, so we are taking this n minus 1 outside. For that, this upper limit and the lower limit is reversed. If anyone is having any confusion in this line, in this step jump basically, you please do it by your own, so that it will be clear to you, and you need to do it. So if you proceed further, what we see, that we can also write it here, it will be 1 by n minus 1 on b minus a whole to the power minus n plus 1 when this part will vanish. But when this part will vanish, please check, it is 1 by epsilon to the power n minus 1. You have to check that particular part, that epsilon to the power minus n plus 1, you can write it as 1 by epsilon to the power n minus 1. Now depending on this expression, you can generate the criteria on n, so that for which case this is going to give you some finite value, and for which case it will not giving you any finite value. So 1 by n minus 1 into b minus a whole to the power minus n plus 1, it will be coming when n less than 1, and it will be infinity for n greater than 1. N less than 1 means, it is less than 1 means, suppose you can take it as, please keep one thing in your mind, that it is also having one criteria, n greater than 0. So keeping these two criteria in your mind, then only you can get this convergence criterion for this particular improper integral. But here also we are lagging one thing. What is that? That is, what will be the case for n equal to 1. So the case for n equal to 1 will give you a to b dx by x minus a, and very easily you can write it as limit epsilon tends to 0 plus integration a plus epsilon to b dx by x minus a. So what you get here, also the logarithm comes into play, limit epsilon tends to 0 plus log of x minus a plus epsilon to b. Furthermore, we can write it as epsilon tends to 0 plus log of b minus a minus log of a plus epsilon minus a means a minus a cancelled out, so it is epsilon. Now think about this limit does not exist. So for n equal to 1, this problem will not also be convergent. So what is our conclusion? Our conclusion is that this given improper integral is convergent when n is less than 1. So for the lower limit part, you have already calculated the thing that how to do the problem. Now only one criteria or one type is remaining, that is if the problem is coming as integration a to b dx by b minus x whole to the power n. Obviously, if you put x equal to b, this is creating a problem, and here also the same condition is true that b minus upper limit is having the point of infinite discontinuity. So we have to think for the upper limit here also n greater than 0. So in the next line, we can write it as limit epsilon 1 tends to 0 a to b minus epsilon 1, you can write it epsilon 1 tends to 0 minus also dx by b minus x whole to the power n. And I think that you can just very easily identify that how to proceed for this problem is b minus x whole to the power minus n plus 1 by minus n plus 1. I am keeping this problem open for you because just the similar procedure will be adopted and you will get this one as infinity when n greater than 1 and 1 by n minus 1 into b minus a whole to the power n minus 1, that means it is a finite value when n is less than 1. And also for the case of n equal to 1, you have to do the same problem a to b dx by b minus x, and again using logarithm you will get that it is going to be infinity. So ultimately this problem will also give you that it will be convergent when n is less than 1. So finally, before concluding this class, we just have some application of this formula, and the applications are very easy because it will not take any time. First of all, our problem is to find out the convergence of 1 to 2 dx by root over 2 minus x. So we can write it as 1 to 2 dx by 2 minus x whole to the power half. So comparing it, we get n is equal to half, which is less than 1, and we have the formula that a to b dx by, where is the problem, 2, that means in the upper limit, so it is going to be compared with b minus x whole to the power n. It is convergent when n is greater than 0 obviously, but it is convergent when n is less than 1, and we get here n is half, that is less than 1. So our conclusion that it is convergent. So look at this, before doing the problem we can get the conclusion that the problem is going to be convergent. Now the next problem, suppose there is a problem for minus 1 to 1 dx by 1 minus x whole square. So where is the problem? The problem is again in the upper limit, and we can write this problem as minus 1 to 1 dx by 1 minus x whole square. That means if I compare it with this n is equal to 2, which is greater than 1. But we know that from the same formula for n less than 1 it is convergent, but what we get here, we get here n greater than 1. So conclusion for this is here that this improper integral is not convergent. If we go for the third problem, suppose the problem is like that, it is 2 to 3 dx by x minus 2 whole to the power 3 by 2. First of all, you have to identify that where is the problem. This problem is coming with the lower limit, and we know that a to b dx by x minus a whole to the power n greater than 0, it is going to be convergent when n is less than 1. But what we get here, n is equal to 3 by 2 which is greater than 1. So obviously our conclusion coming up here as not convergent. And suppose we have another problem, 1 to 2 is dx by root over x minus 1. So we can write it as 1 to 2 dx by 1 minus x minus 1 to the power half. But the problem is here in the lower limit, like that it is also in the lower limit, but this formula gives us n is equal to half here, which is less than 1, and if n is less than 1 it is convergent. So our conclusion is here that this integral is also convergent. So there are two parts. First of all, the testing of the convergence, which can be done by this method, and finally if they are convergent, it will be also asked to you that what is the result of this integration. Then the result you can do by your own calculation, or you can use the standard formula what was discussed just before the during the last 4 slides. So here we are going to conclude our class. Just I want to emphasize that there are some assignments what you have to do in your home. Obviously, first of all, your job is to check whether they are convergent or not, and then please try to find out the value if it is convergent. And these are the references we have used for preparing this lecture. I want to thank you all. Happy listening, happy learning.